world of football is, I wouldn't say it's normal, because all of a sudden...
It's never been normal, is it? It's absolutely bonkers.
I am joining you live from my bar.
Oh, wow. That potentially could be worth it for 30 goals a season.
Hello, my name is Roshan and thank you for joining us on In 20. FARKE. Daniel FARKE is gone. Danny Mills. And that, am I pronouncing it correctly? It's FARKE or FARKE, right?
FARKE, I believe.
Excellent. We'll get the pronunciation correct, but if we do offend anybody, we do apologize, because it is FARKE.
My German is not so good, but I believe it's FARKE.
You sound French, but never mind. Let's talk about football then. Okay.
It's close enough.
Here's a manager who has been going through some bad times. He gets a win and you're fired. And then you got the likes of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who can't do anything right.
Yeah,
still has his job.
It's a little bit bizarre. I mean, Stuart Webber's been sort of backing Daniel FARKE for a long time about, this long-term plan, what they expect. This is what the club do. Total faith in our manager. It's not a problem. They get a win and they fire him, which that must have been premeditated. That must have been happening before. Well, clearly, whatever happened against Brentford was going to be irrelevant. I'm assuming they must have somebody lined up. I understand it completely, because we've said many times, you've got to change the way that you play. It's a nice club. It's a nice place to go. It's a nice team to play against. And they just, they're struggling, badly. And they just look like they were going to go down without a fight, go down with a whimper and be a little bit pathetic. So I get that. But all the messaging coming out of Norwich for the last 5-6 weeks has been, no, we're backing our man. This is not a problem. We have this long-term strategy. Everything's in place. We're working with a manager. We understand where he's going. And then they sack him. So, yeah, in terms of sort of mixed messages, that was a huge surprise.
And you said this before, there are no secrets in football. So he would have definitely heard something, correct?
Well, maybe or maybe not, because I had no idea that this was coming.
Nobody
when
knew.
You look at his... Well, and when you look at his press conference, afterwards, I occasionally go back to when Mourinho took over at Tottenham. No one saw that coming. That was kept under wraps. Secrets in football are fine as long as they're very quick and they don't have time to get out. That's always the biggest problem. If it's out there and it festers for 3 or 4 weeks, somebody's going to find out. I'm guessing this is a decision they maybe took in the week. Decided that whatever happened against Brentford, he was going to be gone, and then that's what they did. Obviously, got the international window coming up as well, so they must have somebody lined up ready to come in for this next sort of 2-week period.
So when you look at the structure of the club, just say for example, there's some other people there right now. They might be going like, "Oh my goodness, if we didn't know what was going to go on, where's my job security?" I mean, does that happen regularly in the world of football? Insecurities with your job?
Sporting, you've got the owners, got chairman, and then you have like the sporting director. Sporting director hires the manager, fires the manager, sets the plan for the football club, sorts out everything. So it's Stuart Webber's job, to sort that out. He did a very, very good job at Huddersfield when he was there. But if you're not doing your job, it's always under jeopardy, surely. As simple as that. If your job is performance related, and you don't perform, surely you've got to be expecting that you might get fired at some point. That's just life. It doesn't matter what job you're in. That's a simple fact. If you're a player, if you're not playing, you don't get picked. Okay, you don't get sacked as such, but you get dropped from the team. That's just the way that it works.
And to build on what you've just said a few minutes ago, you've got this international break, then you've got the transfer window as well. So you're giving this new guy, if and when he does come in, maybe in the next week or so, a good month and a half to plan for the rest of the season?
Yeah, but also you've got to get to the transfer window with a chance. It's like when you look at Newcastle, still eight games to go before the transfer window opens. So it's not going to be easy. You're halfway through the season, when that window opens. You could be out of it by then. You could be done and dusted and have to perform an absolute miracle to get yourselves out of trouble. So it's probably why they've done it now, thinking, well, if we can just get maybe 2 or 3 more wins and give us half a chance before the window opens, then who knows?
I mean, to be fair to FARKE, they're just 21 points behind the top of the table, the team right on top. But you mentioned 2 or 3 wins. It's such a big difference. And you've seen teams start slow, kick off during the December period, and then finish well, or at least just survive.
Yeah, not many, though.
Am I being a football romantic?
Yes.
Okay.
How many teams that have been bottom at Christmas have survived? I think West Brom, are they still the only one? Don't think anybody else has managed to get themselves out of it. Look at Sheffield United last season. Everyone kept saying, "Oh yeah, no, they'll be fine. They'll come good. They'll come good." Yeah, no, they didn't. Because the table doesn't lie. After 10, 15 games, if you're down the bottom, you deserve to be down the bottom because you're not very good. That's what it comes down to. Simple as that. And the problem is, if you get 2 or 3 wins, teams above you are going to pick up points as well. So you can have a good run, but you'll still be in the bottom 3. And then are you going to win 5, 6, 7 in a row when you've been bottom and not won one game all season? The answer's no. So Norwich are going to still a huge fight to get even close to getting out of this relegation zone.
From a Malaysian point of view, it's a very sad note because the greatest duo in the history of football, FARKE and Pookie, are no more together on the same team. But moving on to a team that somehow or the other, the manager's still there, and he's very confident that he'll still be there despite that result against Manchester City, despite that result against Liverpool and the other matches we've spoken about recently on the show. Has he lost the dressing room, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
I don't know if he's lost the dressing room totally.
Okay, who's on Team Ole apart from?
Well, as I say, but I'm pretty sure there will be players in there questioning his decisions, and it won't have helped yesterday when Roy Keane came out, obviously on television, and said, I'd love to get hold of him and shake him and ask him, why are you playing Fred?
Good impression, but.
Yeah, well, I'm great. I'm on fire this morning. I'm on fire today. Not really. Yeah. But no, so I think, there will be players going, well, hang on a minute, Donny van de Beek comes on. What was the point in that? Lambs to the slaughter. You're getting absolutely battered. A player that you're not interested in, don't want to play. Oh, I'll just chuck him on there. What do you expect him to do? Score a hat trick? It's tough. But there will be players, certainly. Ronaldo, I'm sure, will be looking at it and going, hang on a minute, what's going on here? There are a lot of young
those 2
players
tackles. Come on, those 2 tackles. That one against Liverpool recently against Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, you're a footballer. He's trying to do something, correct?
He's probably just frustrated and annoyed and angry, and it's the only place that he can take it out on. But Ronaldo will have the confidence to ask questions. What's going on in this? Maybe Bruno Fernandes. But Manchester United don't have too many senior players that are playing well enough, to question things. Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, okay, seniors, internationals, but they're not playing well enough to start questioning Ollie at the moment, and they're in the team. Other likes of Rashford and Greenwood, McTominay, Wan-Bissaka, are they going to start questioning Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? No, of course they're not, because they're still playing, they're in the team, and maybe they don't have that gravitas to do that. So, and it was an inept performance. I mean, City can do that to anybody. We know that. City were totally dominant in the game. If it was a boxing match, it would have been called off after about 30 minutes. It was like, right, come on, forget this. Throw the towel in, take a 2-0 defeat, and let's get out of here.
But the question, I mean, I know you don't want to get yourself into trouble, but doesn't it look like he's lost the dressing room? You look at what the players are doing on the pitch. He must be telling them something in the dressing room or during the training. Well,
there's no direction. There's no direction. There's no plan. We've said this many times. Manchester will win plenty of games because they've got good players. And
but doesn't it show you that they don't respect him or they're not listening to him? Once again, do you think personally he's lost some of these players in the dressing room? Come on, Danny, give me an answer.
No, I think it's a bit different. I just don't think there's a plan. I don't think Ollie knows how to coach that team. You know, and when you look at they change week in, week out. Are they a counter-pressing side? Are they a counter-attacking team? Are they a high-pressing team? Are they going to sit in and defend? It's like they don't work on things enough in training. So I'm not. It's not the fact that they don't listen to him. I'm not sure he's telling them what to do. I'm not sure he's giving them clear enough instructions and making it clear enough and obvious enough what he wants them to do and how they're going to play. And I think that's the biggest problem.
In the other game called football, there's something called a Hail Mary pass. That Van de Beek decision, just to throw him on in place of Fred, it shouts desperation, correct?
And throwing him under the bus as well. You know, it's like, what's the point at that stage? What are you expecting him to do? You know, it's almost, you're getting absolutely battered. You know, you're chasing shadows. You can't get near the ball. I'll tell you what, I'll throw on this player that if he gets a touch, he's got to create something with his first touch when he hasn't played for months. That's really tough. You know, is that almost a point to say, well, go on then, you wanted a chance, let's go and show what you can do, knowing full well he's not going to be able to do anything, and then you can turn around and say, well, there you go, gave him a chance, didn't perform, so I'm justified in doing what I'm doing. I think that's in my opinion, that's poor management.
Okay, you know, the last time we were just talking about this before the show started, and I said the last time I saw a team completely outplay another team was Bayern Munich against Manchester City, and the manager was Pep Guardiola at that point in time in the Champions League. He's now at City. And something that really struck me was in the 9th or 10th minute, and it was City in the lead, and you saw these three players talking to each other, arguing with each other, and you see it with the likes of Chelsea, you see it with the likes of Liverpool. Why don't you see these kind of things with Manchester United?
I don't think the standards are high enough. I don't think they know what to do. Not what to do, what they're supposed to be doing. Manchester City have a clear way of playing. They work on it day in, day out. You know what they're going to do. You know, it's pass and move into their areas. It looks very, very fluid, but actually it's quite structured. You know, those players, they know where they're supposed to be. They know where the passes are supposed to go. They know what runs people are going to make, and they work on it time and time again. And if you step out of that and you don't do what you're expected to do, then the other players will, hang on a minute, that's not what we do here. That's not what we worked on in training. This is what we're supposed to be doing. So do it. Don't go off plan. You know, the final third's a little bit different if it's an individual taking people on. Yeah, you go express yourself. Manchester United don't have that structure. They don't have
anything.
No, they don't have those rules to say, right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play. So all of a sudden it's like, well, how can you start having a go at players about the instructions when there are no instructions? You know, that's the biggest problem. And they press, they don't defend properly. It just looks a bit of a shambles at the moment.
And that's really sad when you're talking about Manchester United, which is truly one of the biggest brands in the world and loved by billions, you know, across the planet. But let's talk about those three clubs. Quick one. You forget about the league table, right? Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City. Out of the three, forget about the league table, right? Who would you pick as the best team for you? Style of play, you know, what they do on the pitch.
Man City, I think you have to say the best to watch because they are absolutely exceptional. Chelsea, possibly, I would say, the most likely to win because they're a little bit more pragmatic. They can go a little bit direct. They can change it up, and this is obviously when everybody's fit. You know, the likes of Lukaku, they can change things. They've got different ways of playing Chelsea. And I think that's really important. Liverpool, just behind that. I would go. It's hard to split City and Chelsea. They're different styles, different sort of types of teams. City, as like I said, slightly better to watch. You know, more entertaining. You know, pure football. Chelsea, you can see them winning games, and obviously that's what they did to Man City last season. Liverpool, great, but just not quite as good as those two, in my opinion, at the moment.
Okay, so if you're one of these three teams and you keep looking at the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe in a season or two, who do you think would want to get this young boy?
Oh, all of them. He's well, again, it's going to depend who's going to fit into the way that you play. Manchester City have a certain way of playing.
His style of play. Who would he best complement?
I guess he could play anywhere, but then it's who does he replace? Does he play as that sort of slightly deeper midfield player, sort of bursting forward? Could he do that in the Chelsea team? He's sort of be in Mason Mount's position. In that, yes, you could see him doing that. But obviously, you'd have to replace Mason Mount. He's probably going to be club captain and be an absolute legend. So that's maybe unlikely that he goes there. Manchester City, you're still looking at Phil Foden in that sort of position. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. It's going to be hard to replace those. But maybe Liverpool might be the one in that midfield area. That's probably Liverpool's weakest area. That their attack is superb. That the fullbacks are very, very good. Obviously, Van Dijk, superb centre half. Liverpool's midfield area, it's not weak, but it's the weakest element, I would say, of their team at the moment. So maybe, someone like he goes into places like Oxlade-Chamberlain, somebody like that. Or maybe Arsenal do well and he stays there.
Okay, I didn't ask you for a miracle yet. Just asked you which team he can go to. Let's talk about
Tottenham, maybe.
Emil Smith-Rowe, not picked for England. I know you're very close with Gareth Southgate. Oops, the secret's out. But, don't you think that he can just give him an opportunity? He's still very young. He's in the form of his life right now, and he gets a little exposure on the international stage, similar to what Wayne Rooney, with England, and he just kicked off. Why didn't he give him an opportunity?
He'll be in the younger age groups, and he's in and around that. He'll be drafted in maybe to be involved in training from time to time when they're all based at St George's Park. But there aren't many games left now in terms of looking ahead to what will be the World Cup in Qatar. So you've still got to go, right, this is my team. They need to get used to playing together. I need to keep the nucleus of that team together. There's still one or two injuries. I've got players that have been very good to me, that have been great for England. So there's always that degree of loyalty as well. And who does he replace in that side? You have to leave somebody out. And does anybody deserve to be left out at the moment? And the answer is probably no. So yes, it'll be good experience for him. But I think, Gareth has to look at the sort of the bigger picture. He will be a star and he will be fantastic in years to come. And if he finishes the season fantastically well, brilliant. But it's only 8-9 games into the season.
But were you shocked when the likes of Rashford and Greenwood were left out? Okay, Wan-Bissaka, everybody knows, as every football pundit has mentioned, he's having a tough time with his new formation under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But Rashford, I know he was injured and he's come back, but he scored a few goals. Greenwood looks like he's really picking up and dealing with whatever he's dealing with at United. Were you shocked?
Well, Greenwood's in and out of the first team, isn't he? At Manchester United, he's not playing every single week. So I think, again, there are players that are playing, players that are probably ahead of him at the moment. Yes, undoubtedly, he's got a lot of potential, a lot of talent. Rashford's form hasn't been brilliant. I know he's scored a couple of goals, but with the injuries, I'm sure Gareth would have spoke to him and just said, look, do you need to come away? Do you need the intensity of 10 days England training? Or is it better for you to actually just have a little bit of a rest at your football club? You're still in the plans, you're still in and around it, not a problem. But have a rest, get yourself properly fit, and then start playing back for Manchester United to go into what will be a very, very busy festive period.
You got 40 seconds. So is this just a PR spin because there's something going on with Greenwood? Or is Southgate protecting him with whatever's going on at United?
No, I think it just doesn't quite fit in at the moment. He's been involved in squads before. Is he the best player at Manchester United? No. Does he replace someone at England? Is he better than what they've got? No, not really. Is he better than Foden? Is he better than Grealish? Not really. So, sometimes you just have to be patient, wait your turn, and then when you get it, take your chance. He had that chance in Iceland. He blew it a little bit, didn't he?
All right, Danny, thank you very much. All the highlights on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter account. Till the next time. Bye-bye.